Hey folks, Matthew here. Hope you're doing great. It is time for the December feedback video. These are the videos that are free for everybody on Patreon. They started off as sort of a Q&A, ask me anything sort of thing, but over the last few months they've sort of morphed into a place for recommendations. In other words, it's a place where patrons on this Patreon recommend stuff that other patrons might like. So if you're into queer media history or media history from a queer perspective, here are some things that you will probably be into as recommended by your fellow patrons. And if you have things that you would like to recommend, please chime in the comments or wherever you like to chime in on things, and please share them. So we got a lot of great recommendations from some patrons recently, going all the way back to the silent era of film and even a little bit before. So I can't wait to dive into all of this. And also my apologies for missing this video last month. The Rock Hudson video took a lot out of me. But anyway, we're back on track now, and the first thing I want to share with you is a recommendation from patron Claire B, who recommended Alice Guy Blanche. Now, she is a early filmmaker. She was born 1873, one of the very first directors in the world, film directors in the world, really incredible pioneering woman. And for our purposes, one of her most interesting works is this short film, this short silent film made in France called Pierrette's Escapades. This is based on a Harlequin story that generally has a male and female character, but one of the characters in this one is gender flipped, so it is two women. Alice is also responsible for a film that is often showed in film schools, especially in the context of the celluloid closet, and that is Algy the Miner. An early, this is after Alice moved to America, she made this film, Algy the Miner, which features a particularly queer character who, you know, has inspired an awful lot of discourse about whether this is positive or negative representation. But I will put links to all of these things in the description so you can judge for yourself, and also a incredible documentary about Alice's life that is just fantastic. Also, on the subject of the silent era, if you have any other queer silent era stuff that you want to recommend, please let me know. I'm on the lookout for that stuff. I've just started doing a little bit of research into Clark Gable, who got his start in the silent era and, you know, then into talkies. But so anyway, Clark Gable, who, if you might be familiar with him from, if not his roles, then from his frequent caricatures and Looney Tunes cartoons. He's the one who always has the giant ears. Clark Gable is also reportedly the inspiration for Bugs Bunny, because there's one scene in the classic film, It Happened One Night, where he's chewing on a carrot with his mouth full, and he really sounds like Bugs Bunny. And so the prevailing belief is that Bugs Bunny is based on that one particular appearance by Clark.
Oh, and you're an expert, I suppose.
Expert? I'm going to write a book about it, called The Hitchhiker's Hail.
There's no end to your accomplishments, isn't there?
You think it's simple, huh?
No, no.
Well, it is simple.
Clark is interesting for my research purposes because he may have had a relationship with William Haynes, who was another film star of the 20s and 30s. So anyway, if you've got any queer silent era stuff, please send it my way. All right, we're jumping ahead in time slightly to 1938. I want to thank patron Peter for sending me this incredible clip of some drag that appeared in a 1938 film that is parodying Snow White. And I'll just drop in a little clip here and link to the larger thing, because it is really a sight to be seen.
I cannot lie. To truth, I am dutiful. Just look at me. Ain't I beautiful?
So big thanks to patron Peter for sharing that. That is from the film Kentucky Moonshine, 1938. And those performers are the Ritz brothers, who are not as widely remembered today as the Marx Brothers. They're kind of like the Marx Brothers, sort of. It was a family comedy act. Now, speaking of things that evolved out of a stage and vaudeville tradition, we have spoken a lot in these videos in the past about British music hall and vaudeville and stage performances and how those impacted early film, particularly with some really interesting gender bending of performances, especially in the UK. So patron Jillian recommended this amazing piece of work that I can't believe I'm not familiar with this because it's really up my alley. It's called Tipping the Velvet. It's based on a series of novels, was made into a limited run series in 2002, and it's about male impersonators, that is women who perform as male characters in British music hall, and it just looks amazing. I cannot wait to dig into this. So I'm including a link to that in the description. All right, we're jumping ahead yet another decade now to, oh boy, two mid-century flops, two projects that really did not find their audience. But just because something flopped doesn't mean that it's necessarily bad or not worth our attention. In fact, sometimes the things that don't find their audiences when they initially are created are worth even more attention later on. The first one I want to point out, this was recommended by Carabalda, is a film called The 5,000 Fingers of Dr. T. This is an incredible looking film. It's actually quite gorgeous. It's photographed beautifully. It is the only feature film that Dr. Seuss worked on, and it is very clear just from looking at this. This is a Dr. Seuss project. It just has that vibe, that look about it. And it also features Hans Conried, which is not a name that might be immediately familiar to you unless you're a real Disney weirdo, but he is also the voice of, well, you know what, I'll play a clip here and see if you can recognize him.
Attention, attention everyone in the Terwilliger Institute. Down below me, joyful and eager, my students are awaiting our date with destiny.
So that's Hans Conried playing Dr. Terwilliger in the 5,000 Fingers of Dr. T. If his voice sounds familiar, it is, of course, Captain Hook. Nothing especially gay about that particular project that I'm aware of. Maybe there is that I just don't know. But I wanted to recommend it, one, because it is just so beautiful. Two, because it looks incredibly, incredibly weird. And three, because Captain Hook is as queer as Disney characters could get at that time. And so I think Hans Conried's involvement in this project qualifies as queer enough. Oh, also he has a really hunky henchman assistant. Okay, final recommendation is something I am just over the moon excited for. I cannot believe I've never seen this before. It is astonishing. And this is a failed pilot. This is or I guess the pilot itself was not a failure. I think it's a crowning success, but it's a pilot for a series that didn't go, a sitcom that was gonna air in 1965, The Bette Davis Show. That's right, Bette Davis was going to have her own sitcom, and it kills me that this never made it to series. But the full thing is on YouTube. You can watch the full thing, and I highly recommend it because, oh my gosh, it is a gas. So she plays a interior decorator. Bette Davis is an interior decorator who gets way too involved in her clients' lives. It's sort of Designing Women meets Mommy Dearest, maybe? I don't even know what to call it. It is so bizarre.
Do you think my type is coming back?
And if that's not weird enough for you, wait until you find out who worked on this. Executive producer, Aaron Spelling. Yes, the Dynasty 90210, that guy, that Aaron Spelling, the former Mr. Carolyn Jones. And oh my God, wait until you find out who wrote it. It was Mart Crowley, still just a few years out from The Boys in the Band. So what are these people doing together? What was this project even supposed to be? Why did they make this thing? It feels like it was made specifically for you and me, weirdos who love this sort of mid-century historical curiosity that's just brimming, dripping, oozing with queerness. Oh, BT dubs also, it features Mary Wicks, who is another actress who you might not recognize her name right away, but if you saw her, you'd be like, oh, her! Probably, maybe one of her most recognizable roles is, where she actually appears, is one of the nuns in Sister Act, but I think an even more iconic role is that she was the basis, her movement was the basis of Cruella de Vil. She went into Disney and she did, you know, they had all the voice lines recorded already, and they just had Mary Wicks act, pantomime, along with the pre-recorded the voice lines, and the animators used her movements as the basis for Cruella. So anyway, there she is with Bette Davis. Oh my God. Anyway, huge thanks to Shannon for sharing that with me. I will be thinking about that for the rest of my life. All right, that'll do it for recommendations for now, but please keep them coming. I love sharing these things with you. Hopefully you will have discovered in this video a whole bunch of fun things to go check out. And I also hope you will come check out our every Sunday live streams. As you probably are aware, every Sunday we do some live streams over on Twitch. We watch some fun stuff. We chat about it. We have just, you know, it's a nice little cozy hangout. The upcoming live stream is going to be, we're doing a bunch of holiday stuff. We might do the Judy Garland Christmas special, or we might do Lion in Winter, Katharine Hepburn joint. So anyway, please come join us for those live streams. It's just wonderful to watch stuff like this in real time with folks like you and share our thoughts on it. All right, that'll just about do it. Thanks again so much for supporting me here on Patreon. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for just contributing your ideas and thoughts and observations and everything. I love chatting with you. I love hearing from you. I love getting your recommendations and passing them along. And of course, please, if you've got anything that you think other folks on this Patreon would enjoy, you know, we're all here because we like this weird, you know, historical queer queer stuff. So if you've got other stuff that you think folks like us would enjoy seeing, please share them and I'll happily pass them along. All right, that'll just about do it for now. And oh, I just realized I still have not come up with a catchphrase for ending these videos. So until next time, bon appetit.
Great.